The Nintendo Switch 2 had finally arrived 6 months ago. I was so excited to start playing. It's got a larger screen, overall greater feel, a better experience than the original Switch, but I had a craving for more. Something with more games, more choices, and more power. And that brought me to the Lenovo Legion Go. This thing was a blast. I mean, the screen can refresh at 144 hertz. It has detachable controllers like the Switch 2, plays AAA games no problem, but it does cost more initially. So I'm gonna have to decide once and for all which one is best for me and which one's best for you. Reviewing game consoles is a weird job. Usually the reason you buy one has almost nothing to do with the hardware, it's the game. If you're only gonna play Forza, then you are never gonna buy a Nintendo Switch. Or if you absolutely have to play the latest and greatest Pokemon game, then your choice was basically already made for you. After half a year with the Nintendo Switch 2, I have finally figured out who this console is actually for, and spoiler alert, it may not be you. I wanted to love this thing. I pre-ordered it, was ready and hyped for its release. I convinced myself that Nintendo's old school magic would somehow make up for the specs gap, because we all know and have to admit that there is a specs gap. But after 6 months of real world use and comparing it to the mini and other portable gaming devices like the Steam Deck or the Legion Go or the Ally X, I have some thoughts. And if you're on the fence about what device is for you, this video might save you some money in the long term. So let's break it down. So what did Nintendo actually improve with the Switch 2? Well, the good thing is the screen is a lot bigger. The device as a whole is larger, and honestly, that's the upgrade I noticed the most right now. Coming from the original Switch or the Switch OLED, the larger form factor just feels better in the hands for those extended gaming sessions. And if you're playing docked, which full transparency I almost never do, you're gonna notice the larger Joy-Cons. For handheld play, it's genuinely a great improvement. And performance-wise, games like Breath of the Wild running at 60 FPS look genuinely great on this device. Title like Cyberpunk 2077 with upscaling look decent, but who really needs something like Mario Party running at 60 FPS? The hardware is capable when developers actually port over and optimize for it, but yes, of course you can feel and see the difference between the Nintendo Switch, another handheld, and a full-on PC, right? But at least it can play new games, right? Here's the kicker. To actually take advantage of the more powerful GPU, you have to pay to upgrade games that you already own. So like, I bought Tears of the Kingdom on Switch 1 for 60 bucks, but Nintendo wants another $10 to $20 to unlock that 60 FPS patch on the Switch 2. And that's not an upgrade, that's a shakedown. Also, Breath of the Wild, a 9-year-old game, is still like $50. Like, there are no discounts in the Nintendo world. I also find it weird that the Switch 2 decided to go from the OLED screen on the original upgraded Switch back to a standard LCD. I went from a vibrant, gorgeous, high contrast, deep black screen to this, which, like, it's fine, but it just felt like a weird downgrade for a device that's supposed to be upgraded. And considering the device is already $450, maybe that was just another part of cost savings. So yeah, the Nintendo Switch 2 is better than the Nintendo Switch 1, but better doesn't always mean worth it. Let's focus on why. Look, Nintendo's whole pitch and point is simplicity. You press power, you insert a game, yeah, play the game. No driver updates, no shader compilations, no tinkering with the settings, no launchers, crashing, mostly right to the game. It's nostalgic in a way that the Game Boy was. Heck, every older game console was. And look, I get that appeal. There's something comforting about a device that doesn't ask you to troubleshoot. And for a lot of people, especially younger gamers, parents buying for kids, or casual players, that's exactly what they want. And here's the thing for me, I'm a tinkerer. I like the granular control. I want to adjust those TDP settings, mess with upscalers, tweak resolutions to get the highest frame rate, change LED colors, customize my launcher, change the theme color from something other than black and white. The Switch 2 gives me none of that. It's a lockdown ecosystem that treats you like you can't be trusted with the settings, and Nintendo treats all of their user base kind of like this. Here's the fun part. Devices like the Steam Deck, Legion Go, and ROG Ally like they're full on computers. That means more power, more flexibility, and sometimes, yes, more friction. If you go with something like the Legion Go running Windows, you're dealing with a bloated OS. You'll spend your first hour uninstalling unneeded apps if you want, and services to optimize performance, or maybe you start looking for a proper launcher so it doesn't just feel like Windows. But once you're set, I mean, it is great. The biggest issue I had with my Legion Go was battery life, but if you have a little bit of know-how, you can upgrade the battery to almost double the capacity, and this thing lasts a good while, honestly. And you can do a 2 terabyte SSD upgrade, or up to 4 terabytes if you're willing to pay for that. I'm ready to play this puppy all day until the wheels fall off. The Steam Deck, on the other hand, runs Steam OS. You can also get the newer Legion Go's that run Steam OS as well. It's more optimized console-like experience based on Linux, but you're still limited by what Valve allows. It's better than Windows for some things, but it's not perfect. Compare that to the Switch 2. You know, battery life on the original Switch was okay. Battery life on the Switch 2 is really comparable to most other handhelds I found. So get used to being near a wall outlet. That is, unless you want to figure out how to do a battery upgrade on this. But if you do, you're probably gonna break your Nintendo Switch console. But here's my frustration with the Switch 2. I don't mind tinkering. It gives me control, and I don't mind the learning curve if it pays off and is worth it. But the Switch 2 doesn't let you tinker. The most I can do is, like I said, change the background to black or white. It doesn't have the new game library to justify the restrictions. It's kind of the worst of both worlds. Most of what I play on the Switch 2 is just Switch 1 games, old Switch 1 games that are $60 to $7 each still, because Nintendo does not do sales. Meanwhile, Steam, I'm spending $50 a month and I'm finding 4 to 5 new games to play every month. Every week there's a sale. Every month there's a bundle. The value proposition isn't even close between these two. Let's address the elephant in the room: specs versus art style. The Legion Go 2 has a massive AMD Z2 Extreme chip with 32 gigabytes of RAM, and the Switch 2 has 12 gigabytes of RAM with only 9 gigabytes available for games. What matters most is game availability and hardware spec. But does raw power matter if Nintendo's games are so hyper polished and optimized for their systems? What matters most is game availability and hardware specs. Nintendo's polish is great, their games are well made, but polish does not make up for a lack of options. The Switch 2 isn't trying to be a PC, it's trying to be a toy. And for a younger audience, maybe 10 and under, that works really well. It's colorful, it's safe, it's simple. But for anyone older, anyone who wants variety, anyone who's played games on other platforms, the magic starts to feel like a bit of a limitation. And I think Nintendo makes great party games. Mario Party, Jamboree, like those are all fun games, but I'm not playing party games every day. The new Mario Kart, like, it's fine. It's not a huge leap and bounds forward. I don't have a deep connection to most Nintendo characters outside of Pokemon and Legend of Zelda. That's the disconnect, for me at least. If the library was deeper, if there were more must-play exclusives, I'd be more forgiving. But right now, the Nintendo magic feels like nostalgia doing very heavy lifting for Nintendo. And once again, these are just my opinions. So if you feel the same or think differently, let me know down in the comments. Let's talk libraries. The Steam Deck has almost every game on Steam, even PlayStation games, thousands of titles, indie games, AAA blockbusters, emulation if you want it, Legion Go, ROG Ally, Xbox Game Pass. You got Steam, you got Epic, GOG, any launcher you want. It is a full PC in the size of your hands, just a portable PC. Then there's the Nintendo Switch 2. You get Nintendo games, some old arcade games that were on the Game Boy or GameCube, and that's it. Now, don't get me wrong, Nintendo's first party lineup is strong. All the Mario games, the Pokemon games, Animal Crossing, those are iconic franchises. But we're in 2026, and I have to question if that's enough. For me, the Nintendo only library wouldn't be a deal breaker if the exclusives were amazing and killer. The ports they get are very old games, which is fine, but like now they're porting them over and expecting you to pay the new $60 or $70 price for a 5-year-old game. The latest Pokemon games are solid. I like Arceus a lot. Animal Crossing is cozy. The Steam Deck is about $549. That's the Steam Deck OLED. The Switch 2 is $450. Legion Go starts at $500 and goes up to about $1,000. Once you buy 2 or 3 games on the Switch 2, you've already spent more than the cost of a Legion Go, and Legion Go gives you access to thousands more games, many of which go on sale constantly. I just recently spent $20 on Steam and bought like 3 new games that I'm going to be playing this weekend. Like it's great. The ecosystem lock-in for Nintendo is real, and unless you're deeply invested in Nintendo's world, it's starting to become hard to justify. Here's the question: what do you want from a handheld console? Do you want something you can download games on and just play, no fuss, no customizations, no headaches generally? Or do you want something that lets you tinker, optimize, personalize, have a little bit more performance and a bigger library? The Switch 2 is for people that love party games. They just can't live without multiplayer games. People with a deep Nintendo library already. Parents buying for a young kid, maybe like 10 and under. Casual gamers who just want Mario Kart and Zelda, who just love those classic titles. Steam Deck, Legion Go, ROG Ally, or any other of those portable handhelds are for people who love single player games or online multiplayer games, who may already have a gaming PC and want that additional portability. Tinkerers who like customization. Anyone who wants access to thousands of games without ecosystem lock-in. My honest usage after a year: when I first got the Nintendo Switch 2, I played Pokemon Legends Arceus. It was fine. It is a Switch 1 game. It felt basically the same, just on a bigger screen. Since then, I mostly play my Legion Go. My Switch 2 sits on my desk most of the time. I wish I was kidding. Maybe the next Pokemon game or a new Animal Crossing will pull me back, but right now, the Switch 2 feels like a console searching for a reason to exist in a world that is growing with more and more competition. I don't regret buying the Switch 2. I wanted to give it a fair shot, but after half a year, I can't recommend it for most people, knowing that there are better options out there. If you're not a hardcore Nintendo fan, if you want variety in your library, if you care about value, get a Steam Deck or a Legion Go S. Like, you'll spend less in the long run. You'll have way more games to play, and you'll actually feel like you own your device. That's my final take. Only get the Switch 2 really if you're 10 or less, you're a parent and you want to get something for your kid that's simple to handle. For everyone else, I think any other handheld that has come out recently is probably a better choice. Let me know in the comments. Are you still using your Switch 2, or has it become shelf decoration? What games are you playing? If you didn't have a Switch 2, what console would you buy? I'd like to see your answers, and I'll try to respond to a few, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.